Hey, I think something. I just thought of a fun thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, go.
Because I don't know what we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do the intro now.
Whoa.
Pre-intro.
Could you not tap on the table? I don't know where you got this. You started doing it just since last time. It's ridiculous.
It's so fun.
It's so fun.
It's so fun. Hold on. Trying to get closer.
Get sorted.
Hi, Steve.
Hey.
Oh, you sound good.
Well, he's got
I
a
would
fancy
hope so.
mic.
Yeah, I see it. It's glowing.
It's like,
Can we get some glowing mics in here?
For fuck's sake.
Well, the booms are great.
I think
Totally worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Being my first impression of the studio.
I will say, you said something about this before we get too far into this. I am going to try my best to be up, but I might just kind of fade off into silence from time to time just because I'm a little tired. So, but I'm in a way better mood.
Oh,
You called me out for being in a bad mood, and I was.
well, it was.
Now I'm not.
I mean, it was 2 podcasts.
2 in a row.
Well, maybe it's just a Thursday thing because those were both on
Yeah,
Thursdays.
Thursdays are stupid.
Thursdays are stupid.
Yeah,
Friday, everything feels better.
pretty much. Yeah.
Everything, right, Sean?
I mean, everything.
Everything feels better.
So abrasive. Okay. What are we going to talk about?
I don't know, man.
All right, cool.
You're the host.
I got to sneeze.
Bring it in.
It's going to go away since I said that. I wish I had my own button for this.
The sneeze button.
Sorry.
So what did Tyson say? Just lean over.
Yeah, just knock everything over.
Lean
push the
over.
button, and then we'll move on.
Sneeze on everything as you're leaning over.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think that it'll make a good start. So I'm going to do it.
Okay.
All right. Welcome to the Campfire Passport Podcast. We're going to do an intro at the beginning of the show.
Pre-show.
And we're going to do this because I've boldly proclaimed that I don't know what we're talking about today. So
Was it?
I'm hoping
I'm not sure
it
how that's
wasn't really
bold,
bold.
but-
It wasn't that bold. But I did proclaim it.
Yeah.
I used my hands. That's a proclamation,
you
right?
did. Okay. Yeah.
That's the
Tyson.
Ferrari fan in you.
I don't know what's happening. We've got Tyson in the studio for the first time.
First time ever. Feels good.
First time ever. This has never stepped foot in this room before now.
No.
It's crazy.
No.
It's Colin's lair. So he stays out of it.
Yeah, it's got a musk.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta mark my territory.
That's what's on the card. I see. I thought that was just stains, but
they're
different.
stains.
They're stains. They're just
Oh,
different
they're
kind of
That's not what
stains.
you thought they
Yeah.
were.
No black lights in here. Please, no black lights in here. I think we're going to talk about our trip, though, right? Like, that seems to be the thing that we should talk about.
That seems poignant. Yeah.
Yeah. So we just went on our annual kind of yearly kickoff camp trip. It's the Alvord Desert Camp Trip, or I guess we don't always call it. I mean, we always go to the Alvord. We always somehow do. We just go a different way or come home a different way.
Yep.
And we've talked about this a ton on the podcast because I think it means a lot to all of us because it's like the first go of the year. It's usually near my birthday, around my birthday weekend. So I'm always happy to see all my friends that I haven't seen for months because we all hibernate during the winter pretty much. And a lot of times it's like the time where we are using our new stuff or building new rigs. Tyson,
Yeah.
Colin, not Steve, all sorts of stuff. Or we're just like me, hammering through maintenance in 1 week before the thing, which reminds me of one thing I have to do. I better write this down. So
Take notes.
yeah, I got to take a note here. Because we've got other big trips coming up after this now. And it does work like a shakedown run too for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
Good
you know,
shakedown.
especially both of you guys with new camp setups. Like that's a pretty big thing. So where do we start there? Colin, why don't we talk about like where we went and how we did it this year? I think that's interesting.
Okay.
Can you-
Well, first off was just going to the Alvord. We went straight there because the concept this year was rather than slowly getting further away from home, we would slowly get closer to home. So it was basically, and going to the Alvord.
I lost the sneeze again. It's gonna keep happening. I'm so sorry.
I got my finger on the button.
The anticipation.
I'll put in the chat. Emergency.
Emergency. Got it. Okay.
Emergent.
That's gonna be the problem. I'm not gonna be able to type that out.
So we went to just straight on to the Alvord, easy meetup spot because a couple of people were running behind, namely you.
A couple people had work to do.
Yeah, and Colin.
He didn't have to
Not
work.
talking in the third person, just other Colin. But yeah, we went out to Alvord, had pretty killer weather, so that was cool. We can go over that, obviously. And then next day was run to fields for fuel top up and milkshakes, of course. And then we did the southernmost portion of the new Oregon backcountry discovery route, because when they released the new backcountry discovery route, I found that was the only section we hadn't already mistakenly done before it was even mapped. So I felt that fit our our general goal.
Yeah.
So we did that portion over to Heart Mountain and camped near Heart Mountain, and then came home after that. So that's the gist of the run around, and we can dive deeper now.
Break it down.
Yeah, we can really break it down from everyone's perspective.
Let's back up to my favorite part of the trip, which is the thrashing to get done to go.
Mm-hmm.
Did either one of you have like last minute prep happening?
Oh, everything.
Yeah.
Everything was last minute. So I think in one of the first, 5 podcasts or something, I was talking about upgrading from a Nissan Xterra into something bigger for the family. I finally got a first-gen Sequoia, and going from bone stock to lift and building out the interior to have a platform, to have a 50-liter, 13 gallons for Freedom units.
Thank you. 50. I don't know how many.
Do a quick
That's a lot of
conversion.
liters. It's not so many gallons, but it's a lot of liters.
Yeah. It's more impressive in metric. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The onboard water, inverter for the wife's hair tools that
You got to be plugging something in there of your own.
It didn't.
Can't be all hers.
No, it's all for her. Everything's for her.
You're not
Every
You're not
accommodation.
charging that little RC car I saw on it?
Okay, guilty. Yeah.
All right.
So
We
okay,
got it.
it's
We got
that's
it
great.
down now.
Great for charging the little RC truck, because you got to have something to terrorize the dogs.
Yes.
Um,
My poor dog. I hated that thing. Anyways, keep going.
and Norman. That was a
Scared
great
little
deterrent
guys.
for the opportunist hunter.
Yeah. Hunter is very generous.
Yeah,
He's a little more of a gatherer.
Yeah. Scavenger.
scavenger. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, he's a scavenger. So yeah, everything was absolutely last minute, because the Sequoia went from bone stock, less than bone stock. I mean, watch the YouTube of me putting the suspension stuff on.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see how bad everything
Oh my
was.
God, it looked so bad.
So the suspension stuff I put on, especially in the front, was supposed to be, theoretically, according to internet's never wrong, 2.5 to 3 inches, something like that. With how bad the bushings were, I think it was a 4.5 inch lift.
It was a lowered Sequoia already.
It was a
It was
lowered
lower
Sequoia.
Sequoia.
Yeah, absolutely. And so going from a bone stock rig to camp prepared, I built my own roof rack because the factory one didn't work. Aftermarket stuff, I tried a couple things, did not pan out. The awning that I got didn't really fit well with how tall the rear hatch opens. So I had to mount everything a lot higher, so it looks goofy as hell, but it worked. So that was cool.
It's funny, when I saw the first pictures of it, I was like, what the hell is Tyson doing here?
Yeah, it looks like a scaffolding.
But honestly, after like the third time I saw it, I can't even tell you that I noticed that at all anymore.
Yeah, you get used to how ridiculous it looks. Once the awning went on, it was like, oh, okay. Yeah, there's stuff up there.
That makes sense.
It's more proportionate to the rest of everything. But that was a month, maybe a month and a half,
just thrash
of just get everything done.
Love it.
And I'm so tired. I'm still so tired.
Yeah, that makes sense. Colin basically did the same thing with a different vehicle.
Same boat, different vehicle. Yeah.
Although you didn't modify much vehicle stuff because it's capable and good.
Yeah, it was.
And no like have to do. You weren't in a lowered Sequoia. So.
No, wasn't in a lowered Sequoia for the starting point.
And it still does more than a lifted Sequoia will.
Yeah. but yeah, it was kind of same thing, was attempting to get as much camp readiness stuff done as I could. And I mean, just like Tyson, I was still doing like little things to get prepared on top of just the pack, more so than just the packing, up until the night before, like the one night before the night before we left. I think it was Wednesday night was like the final night that I like worked on something to finish getting it ready, and then Thursday night was just pack everything.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think I did my alignment and an oil change the night before we left.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a lot. There was a lot of other stuff that got me there, obviously, but that was like the last minute. And then I actually had a bunch of work on Friday that I didn't realize I was going to have. And so I had Lauren packing everything on Friday morning, which thank God she's like, she outpacks me by like tenfold. It really doesn't matter. Like I could do it and it would be fine. But when she does it, it's amazing. So it worked out great. We had all sorts of room this time, which was nice. But God, yeah, that like last minute, I thought I had so much time until 2 weeks before. And then I was like, oh no, I've gone way too far on some of this. So one thing that no one called me out on that I have to bring up now, because I was really sure that like probably Tyson would notice, but maybe Mike, because Mike, like, he's a little bit more like the, he does the Lewis Hamilton looking at the Red Bull thing.
Yeah.
You know? He's kind of like poking around people's cars a little bit more, but I rebuilt my front axle. And I had a spare axle and I took everything off of it except for the housing and the diff, and I swapped it to my old axle. And when I did that, I swapped in the old Burfields. So like, factory Burfields, new hub flanges, a couple of things, so I could make sure that any of my slack and weirdness was maybe not attributing to those things. Anyways, when I did all that, I thought from the start I was going to use the brakes on the axle that I had, the new axle, the one that I'd been sitting on for a while, and they were pretty rusty. So I tried, I don't know if either one of you have done vinegar and salt to get rust off. It works really well.
Yeah.
You put it like in a bath of vinegar and salt and boom, the rust is gone.
Yeah, that's like high school science project stuff. It's fun.
It's cool. So it worked really well, except for since Toyota is Toyota and all of that the rotor and the hub, when they're bolted together, the hub houses like the wheel bearings, so it's full of grease. It was full of really old grease, and I let it sit around for a while, and it like coagulated and did all sorts of weird stuff, and it was just a mess. And I think I could have used the rotors, but like they weren't good. So I used my existing hubs and rotors and of course my calipers, because I didn't have the calipers from the other one. in the process of this whole scenario, I figured out that my driver's side caliper is partially seized. And, it's real easy to find an 80 series brake caliper in town on a Tuesday before you leave for a trip on Friday morning. So I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll just deal with that. That'll be fine. It's whatever. It's been this way for who knows how long, whatever. I'll throw it back together. It'll be fine. But I will definitely get new rotors because that one is fucked. I mean, bad. The inner is horrendous because the caliper itself had touched the rotor plenty of times now, and then it got stuck there and it just kept.
Hell
working. Yeah. So I'll just get new rotors. No, can't get new rotors. I mean, I can get new rotors, but I can't get new rotors locally.
In the time frame. Yeah.
So I go, all right, maybe I'll just get new pads. And then I started thinking about this whole scenario, and I was like, why would I put new pads in this? So I threw that thing back together with one absolutely hammered rotor, a half frozen caliper, and the other side is also grooved. It's not like the passenger or the driver's side, but if you look at my driver's side rotor right now, which you'll be able to see clearly because I don't have dust shields on anymore because I mangled that one when we were snow wheeling a few months ago. It's like embarrassingly bad. And so the whole time I kept looking at it and I was like, someone's going to call me out on this. Someone's going to look under my vehicle and be like, what the hell are you doing? It's the thing that you just saw and like just rolled into the shop on Reddit. That's how bad it is. Nobody did it. Nobody called me out. So
no, you would stop fine and you went fine and
everything's good.
Yeah, no problem.
There's some upgrades I might do, or I might just throw it all back together as stock before we do Rubicon. But I have to do front brakes. It turns out pretty soon.
Or you got to make sure that the person in front of you has done front brakes.
Yeah. Because my rears, I'm certain, are not doing anything. It's like this much. Assuming that the proportioning valve thing is working properly, there's about this much surface area that it touches. So not good.
Yeah, minimal for a 6,000 pound truck.
Yeah.
Good thing you don't need front brakes.
Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about those. Brake bias is rear. I've got it on the steering wheel. Steve, did you had just your awesome cook stuff and new tires and wheels.
I did suspension as well.
Yeah. Okay. You did. Right. Did you do that in a proper amount of time, like a normal person, or did you do that in the last minute?
It was certainly more last minute than I wanted it to be.
If you say that it wasn't 6 months ago, I swear to God.
Yeah.
But it was identified long enough ahead to have everything.
That's good.
But Steve is the most responsible out of all of us.
Food prep last minute.
Yeah. Because you pre-cooked a bunch, which was awesome.
20 burritos.
Yeah.
Yep. Highlight of the morning.
It really was. I think I could have eaten 10 of them.
But I think it all worked out better than ever before.
Yeah, it was good.
As far as the effort in.
Well, that's good too. Since we're not participating in the effort in a lot of times, it's nice to know that it was worth it.
Well,
worth it for all of us.
Sometimes just the logistics of, making food for that many people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Camp cleanup can be a pain.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not my favorite thing.
Yeah. A little annoying.
So
and then some 12-volt gremlins.
Oh, really? What did you have?
Isolator was.
Oh yeah.
Fucked.
Yeah.
I guess I added some corrosion that was keeping my spare battery at just under 11. Didn't notice it until I went to turn my air compressor on and thought my air compressor was dead because the sound it was making.
Yeah.
Nope. It was just that's how it sounds when it's at 11 volts.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't like it.
Running low voltage.
Yeah.
That's what happened to Mike too. Was anybody there when Mike was airing up on the last day?
Oh,
So he has dual batteries, and whoever worked on it last, I don't know.
Him.
It wasn't him. He said. So
okay.
Likely story.
I'm going to say this, and then he's going to be on he's going to text me immediately because he's going to know without even watching this. But somebody worked on it, or somehow he had moved I don't know, whatever. He didn't hook up his second battery, so he had been running his charging pack, his air compressor and something else off of the second battery, which was not hooked up to his
The
12-volt
starting
system
battery.
at all.
So it wasn't charging the whole time.
Was not charging the whole time. And it worked until Sunday morning, halfway through airing up. And finally he was like, what's wrong with my air compressor? Same kind of thing, Steve. And he's like looking at it and messing around. And then he walks over to me and he says, turns out my second battery wasn't hooked up. And I'm like, what?
Well, there you go.
So pretty impressive. Fridge too. Yeah, I guess fridge the whole time.
Yeah, because he had the fridge on there too.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know what kind of starting battery he's got, but he must have something that's reasonable in there, which is crazy because aren't those JK dual trays? Like, don't you have fairly small batteries in them?
They're, I can't remember what group size they are, but he got them both from me, and so it's dual AGM, deep cycle, and start. So they're like dual style. But yeah,
They swing both ways.
Nice. But I think they're 50 amp hour.
Okay,
is what they were. So
yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Just even for a starting battery, it's really good.
Yeah. So I missed the roll out to the Alvord on Friday because Colin and I left Bend at like 2-ish, 2:30 probably, something like that. But we made good time. It was really easy for us. I'm sure it sounded like it was easy for you guys too, right? Like just a normal day trip out.
Normal run. No, nothing weird happened. So always good.
Yeah. Except for there was water, right?
Yeah, that is true.
A lot of water on the playa.
Yeah, when we got out on the playa, there was, that's the most water I think I've seen on the playa. Luckily, it didn't go all the way to the very southern portion, so you could still get over to the east side of it. We just had to go basically almost all the way to where the dunes are in order to pull around the bottom side of it so that we can get over to the other side to set up camp. But I think
goddamn dried up lake bed trying to be a lake.
I know.
Can't believe it.
Trying to come back.
The nerve.
I think that's like the furthest south I've ever crossed without, I'm sure I've driven down there maybe, but when I look at like all my lines that are from the last whatever many years, it was way further south than normal.
Yeah, because we'll go in on we'll enter on the south side entry, but we usually point, northeast, and then shoot across at that point. And so this one we actually had to drive further south from the entry so that we could get around the water. Yep. Which there were two arms of. That one got a couple of us. Well, it definitely got me on the entry because I like went around the first one and was just like bombing across. And then Natasha says, Is that more water right there? And I had like my camera out the window filming stuff. And I look and I was like, oh shit, it is. And had to slam the brakes on, got some squealing tires from slamming the brakes on. And then we're like, okay, well, we got to cut out and go a little bit further south again. And before we could actually cut north. And then when we were leaving, it got Mike too. That was pretty funny to watch.
The second time on the way in. So the first time, of course, we're in a Sequoia, maybe 3 cars back. And it was you guys going, we're kind of going slow. Yeah, there's a lot of water. Let's kind of be careful. And then we went around one big portion, and then it seemed like, oh yeah, it was pretty clear, looks like. And so I was like, well, V8, first time I've got a V8 rig, foot to the floor, V8 noises, sounds great. And then, that's more water. And then brakes, slow down.
Oh,
brakes.
shit, water.
Yeah. And then nothing happened.
Nothing bad came of it, so that was good.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. You had me so freaked out though, because since I came late, Colin shared his location with just through the phones, which worked really well.
Yeah,
and then
because we got service out there.
Yeah, exactly.
So. Yeah,
and then you're texting me about it, and I'm like, all right. And I kind of look at my phone. We get on the playa, and I tell Colin, all right, we're gonna go south to go around because apparently there's 2, whatever puddles basically. And he's like, all right, cool.
Big puddle.
So I turn south and I get up to 55, 60, and I'm going south for a little while. And I was like, I don't think there's any more water. I should turn. And then as I turn, I start to get into one of the like bushy, like all the way south areas where somebody was camped in a little cove. And I was like, oh man, I'm like way further south than I have to be. So my track was like a V because I just basically went to the end and then bounced back to where everybody was.
Not a bad technique in this situation.
It worked out great, except for Lauren saw you guys way before I did. And I was like kind of trying to look out and like see, and all of a sudden she's like, where are you going? What do you mean where I'm trying to find my friends? And she's like, you think maybe it's all those people over there? And I'm like, oh yeah, even further north than I thought. So it was good. It was we had good weather too. Like even when I got out there, it was really nice. And then the wind was kind of picking up, so that kind of sucked. But it wasn't like it's always a little bit windy out there, it seems like, or a lot of times it is.
In the early evening, it always seems to be that way.
There was a comment rolling around the fire, though. It's going to, as soon as it gets dark, the wind's going to stop. And so that was fun every time after dark. Where's the wind? Where's the wind go? Is it still here? Oh, it's still windy. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah.
The sun's still kind of up.
Yeah. I will say when I said this to everybody, when I woke up in the middle of the night to like turn my heater off or whatever, I've opened my window and I stuck my hand out just trying to see if there was any wind, and it was dead. No air movement at all. So it was kind of
sun was all the way down.
Eventually that actually did happen.
That's how you can tell.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't you
it was
know?
just cold that night. That was in there.
Yes, it was.
It was definitely. Cool. Oh yeah, you had some drama.
Yeah, I am officially anti-diesel heater.
Yeah, you're 0 for 2.
I am 100% failure rate. Yeah, fuck diesel heaters. You have to bring so much more extra shit, and then they don't work. Well, for me.
Yeah. You were the only one, I think.
Yeah, twice. So my dumbass tests. I built my own like self-contained diesel heater. This is one of my projects that I apparently
for a month.
Wasted time on because it didn't fucking work. And I was really proud of it, and it's pretty trick. I use an old ammo can and got one of the cheap like $50. Don't tell me I got the cheap $50 one. That's the problem, because it works great when it works.
Yeah.
But built this diesel heater. I got a separate tank for it that doesn't leak because the smell of diesel in your truck sucks. And tested it in the shop, tested it the weekend before. Everything was running super, super well. And for some reason, it just didn't work. And then I think you Googled the error that was on it. It was a low voltage code.
Yeah, this is the most comical thing about our group of people is that there's a 2 or 3 minute conversation going on about, it starts with, hey, if we ever get service, can Google the code. Or can we Google this code? This is the code. Someone else comes in. I'm not naming names here. Someone else comes in and says, this is the code. And they start talking about it. And then there's a conversation going back and forth. This entire time, we've got service, and I'm on my phone Googling it. And finally,
patient Sean,
as my
waiting for breaker
goes down to 1 bar again, I said, hey, by the way, if you guys are done talking, error code 10, according to my Google that I'm looking at here, means it's like 11 volts or less on most. I don't know. Who knows if it's exactly the same as yours? I will put an asterisk out here. I do not know that was 100% the thing, but I just thought it was funny. Though. Yeah, general code, like it's this. And I was like, okay, well,
So it's
apparently the thing, and you know this, but they draw a ton when they light.
Yeah, when they start.
If it's under a certain voltage, it'll just trigger itself to go, nope, that's too much. So it could have been some battery conditioning thing or something. Who knows?
Yeah,
or it just sucks.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. It sucks. So I'm sticking with propane. I bring propane anyway.
Yeah,
I'm just packing a Mr. Buddy, and then I'll get a bigger propane tank. I've got the 5-pound one. I'll get an 11-pound or whatever the next size up is. It'll be fine.
Can I interest you in a diesel heater that I know works?
No.
Okay.
No.
It's the best news. It does have a leaky cap. So
fool me once. Shame on me. Fool me twice. You can't fool me twice.
Wow.
Never going to get fooled again. That's what I say.
Yeah.
My diesel heater worked. It's pretty hot.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
So that kind of...
It won't work. It has a potential to not work.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, everything has a potential to not work.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but mine also
not Mr. Buddies.
worked the whole weekend, and
you almost cooked your dog and your daughter out.
And also didn't leak.
Yeah.
So
I was so stoked about, like, I felt so good about our theoretical diesel heater shootout. Like, I had fired mine up. I had fired mine up weeks before you guys even fired yours up.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, and it ran for 15 hours, no problem.
Ran it for 15 hours.
That was the weekend before.
Ran a full tank through it.
I turned mine on twice. One to make sure it would turn on, and then I immediately turned it off because I had nothing connected to it. Second time, I ran it long enough to feel hot air coming out of the out.
Yep.
And then went, all right, it works.
Okay, it works. Yeah. I mean, I did basically similar. I mean, I brought it into the shop and was like, well, I should probably fire it up at least once before we get out there, you know? And yeah, did the same thing, like turned it on, got it so that it would prime and or whatever. And then it kicks on. And yeah, I think I ran it for 10 minutes.
See, I ran mine too long.
Hot. And I was like,
I ran mine too long. Yeah, you said all up.
God damn it.
I didn't read the instructions.
Yeah.
Well,
got to learn Mandarin.
I don't know. I was happy with mine. I hate how big it is. They're all that big, right? Like, it's not like a huge one. And it's also, anyways, it is, there we go. It is, I have the stupidest mounting thing, but it worked. And I'm really happy that it worked. And also, I told you guys after the podcast, I think when we were talking about it, when I had figured out this like ridiculous way that I was going to mount it, and Mike told me, you both were like, you're going to break your window. And Mike was like, you use these suction cup things I have. They'll do what you need, I think. And I think he wanted me to put them on the body because originally I had thought that it was so long that I would have to suction cup it to the body instead of the window. And I was kind of like, Mike, this is never going to work. This is a stupid idea. So shout out to Mike here because he stuck those on my car like Friday night or Saturday morning. And then I thought, let me just see. Let me see if I can kind of finagle them in a way to work. And they're awesome.
Yeah.
Because it was just enough, like before it was fine. But when we got into some more rocky stuff, I knew it was going to swing a little bit and it was going to pop in and out. And it would probably just scratch up that trim and like not ideal. And it would slosh more diesel around, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. And be noisy.
And it would be noisy. So I put those things on, zip tied it because we were out in the field, of course.
In the bush.
And man,
bush fix.
It worked great.
Yeah.
It was really good.
I had silent doubt on the whole
thing. We were just like, no. Jesse was like, you can't keep that outside of your vehicle. He didn't even say, there was no like, it was just, you cannot do that. And I said, dude, I don't know. That's fine. Like,
I saw it mounted on the side and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then I got closer and I was like, what the fuck are you doing here?
I put masking tape on it to seal it up. And guess what? It worked.
It worked.
I washed my car. If
it's stupid, but it works, it ain't stupid.
That's right.
You know what's stupid? Diesel heaters.
Well, as a whole, maybe.
For some people, I guess.
I'll die on this hill.
Okay, well, that's my. You'll die of hypothermia.
Yeah. Like I almost did.
Asphyxiation from your propane.
Yeah.
Well, there's that too.
Yeah. Well, go out smiling.
That's it. Just gonna have a wet tent.
Yeah, I've got these super cool desiccant bag things that I don't know if they work.
Gonna find out.
Steve goes like full raw dog, no heater at all, and so he's the real man here.
Yeah,
sleeping bag
also
only.
was the coldest.
Yeah, you probably were. I felt not like an idiot, but like I felt over prepared the next night because it was so nice on the second.
Oh
night.
yeah, night 2 was.
I don't know what the temperature was,
wonderful.
But if it was 45, that would be the lowest that it possibly I feel like could have gotten to because it was so nice.
No, it was pretty chilly at like 5 a.m.
Okay,
it got cold. Yeah,
right at the last second. Yeah,
I put my window up a little bit. Then
the night is darkest before the dawn.
Yeah,
coldest before the dawn.
10 o'clock.
that night I just had
warm.
I had the heater on like absolute lowest setting the whole night for the kids because Seamus joined Harper in the in the awning room, and then all the dogs. Well, not all the dogs
because my heater didn't work.
The two corgis and the basset
why don't you
hound.
tell us about that?
Listeners can rewind.
Yeah, they had no complaints, and when I like opened the door that morning while it was just on low, like it was like totally comfortable inside there. So
nice.
Yeah. Again, I didn't have any issues, but I mean, maybe next time I will.
I can only hope.
It's possible, but also this might have been the one time
I was going to say you'll find out
that
next
I'll
year.
use it. So it's going to be unless we do a cold late.
How many hours do you have on that thing? Because 15 is too much.
Okay, so 15 is too much. So I've done two nights all the way through.
So it's done.
Yeah, so that's all the use I'm going to get out.
Right, trade that sucker in.
Trade that in, yeah. Warranty it while I still can.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, you want a diesel heater?
Works great.
Low hours.
Yeah.
Low hours.
Low hours.
The second day was pretty good. We had like good breakfast that started out thanks to Steve.
Mm-hmm.
He had the pre-done breakfast burritos that he crisped up.
Yep.
And they were awesome. And then we were trying to get out at a pretty reasonable time. You really wanted to get going earlier, and I think we kind of did it until my dog ran away. We were real close.
We were close.
Yeah.
We may have just barely made it if your dog hadn't gone halfway across the playa on its own.
Yeah, she found a butterfly. And that butterfly apparently took her.
We would all do the same, I think.
2.5 miles on the other side. Yeah.
Guilty.
We've all been there, you know? And then her idiot brother just followed her out there.
Classic beagle.
Classic beagle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing like taking hound dogs camping.
The best part of that was where did the dogs go? And everyone's looking around. And I just kind of looked out across the playa. And you just see this little thing.
White,
just like running across, very small. And I was like, is that them right over there? Sure enough,
floating above the mirage.
Got the binoculars out, and it's like, yep, just on the edge of the mirage. There they are.
It was bad. We got them. It took a while to get over there, and then we got them. I didn't want to take a car because I didn't know what the puppy, if it would scare him or not. He's a little afraid of cars, and so I was like, God, I don't want to send him like running further. So we.
Cars are faster though.
It's pretty fast. It's hard to see out there, it turns out.
Fair point.
So we got all that wrapped up. And then we did get on the road, and we made a pretty timely stop in Fields. Although I don't want to cause a polarizing issue here. I like a Fields milkshake, but is it the most ridiculous time suck ever to put 10 cars worth of people in there to try to get milkshakes when even anyone else is in there, let alone.
You're never the only one there.
No. And they're just not prepared to move any kind of speed. They just don't. And they're good, and they're nice people, and I love it's a great tradition. But anytime that we're kind of in a hurry, I end up just sitting in my car and stewing about everybody.
Yeah, how long it's taking.
Dicking around.
How
trying to get
dare you get a
milkshakes.
tasty fucking treat?
I'm just glad
God
that
damn it.
I mentioned it on the front end that I would like to keep it quick, because I definitely foresaw some people ordering food also, which would have been that would have added
20 minutes at least. Half
20?
an hour.
That's
20 minutes?
that's
An
light.
hour?
Yeah, it would have been another 45 minutes at minimum per like slot of food. So that
they grind the beef there for your burger.
Find one first.
And I'm sure it's great. I have never spent the time to order food there. I'm sure it's totally good because the milkshake is good too, and whatnot.
It's terrible.
I'm glad that I have made it known, because I mean we took off an hour after what I was shooting for, and so that was kind of on my mind as we were pulling into Fields. Like, okay, we're already an hour behind.
Yeah,
I don't know how long this road's going to take. Let's try and speed things up a little bit here if we can. So, and we're always very efficient with the fuel and everything else there. So I think that was
not our first rodeo.
Yeah,
in
that was
regard.
one of our quicker stops.
Yeah, for sure.
Considering what we had going on.
Even though we had to take an extra step, you got to take a picture of the pump now because some jackwagon's probably lying about. Oh yeah, I just got a gallon.
Yeah, that was a new Ripple, but
I wonder how much. This is a totally stupid side thing, but I wonder how much a modern fuel pump actually costs. Like just a regular, you get like hand me down from Arco kind of scenario. Like, is that
That's one of those
that's got a debit card in it?
You figure out when yours breaks completely.
Probably, yeah. I was thinking about that in Riley as well as I was waiting by the one pump that has non-ethanol premium that I filled up with, and it has a padlock on it. And they don't allow self-service out there, which I just blew my mind.
Which is odd because that's exactly the type of place that should. But
but part of it, and the Field's problem, is because it's an old style pump, and so I'm just like,
too easy to take off.
Seems like I don't want to tell you how to run your business, and they're in the middle of freaking nowhere, and I get it. Like they're not running a chain or anything. But
the average cost of a gas station fuel pump ranges from $16,000 to $21,000.
I wonder if we could start a GoFundMe for Fields.
For Fields' update.
Just update your pump so that we can move a little quicker. You can use card. I know you're going to pay 2.5% or whatever, but like a lot of people are paying with card inside anyways. So,
but you get that volume up.
That's right,
and it pays for itself.
That's what it really saying. Does. That's what I'm saying, Fields.
Brought to you by Fields, Oregon.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys can get on the town
the sticker
committee.
say? Something about them. They have a milkshake sticker that's like, I don't know, best milkshake in the world, whatever. That's their claim to fame.
Undisputed.
No one will dispute that. We took a really cool route. Colin said, it was the OBDR route. Is the start of it actually that start that we did, or did we hit it along the way?
So there is like a small portion that's further south.
Okay.
But it's like, when you're in Fields, you're basically at the border. You're only, what is it? Like 40 miles, I think, to Denio.
Denial.
I did the research. We're all in Denio.
Uh-oh. I knew that was going to bring something up.
Madras.
So we were basically starting at the very most southern portion and then heading, northwest.
Yeah.
And that I didn't know what I had expected about that area, but it did end up being cooler than I thought maybe.
Yeah,
it was really cool. There lots of really, really great views.
Yeah.
I always like the wildlife, even if it is, all the cattle that got in the way.
Wildlife. Did have some cow incidents.
Yeah, not exactly wild, but it's fun. And the wives and kids, they like a nice little cow encounter.
Oh, don't we?
Encounter.
Ooh.
Whoa. Oh man.
we were running cat.
Oh, we were for a while. I was like, I've seen this on TV. Hold up. You need to get going here.
Yeah. There's probably some rancher like, where the fuck are my cows?
Well, it's not our first rodeo.
Yeah. 2 rodeos. That's all you need.
That's all you need. So my favorite part of the day, I think, was when Colin says he stops at a Y in the road. He says, all right, we go this way. We'll save 10 miles, but I've never been down, or I don't know this road. If we go the other way, it's a known variable. We'll be on the road soon. And I was like, okay. And he says, all right, since you're the birthday boy, pick. And I know he knew there's no way that you didn't think I was going to pick shortcut. So I was like, shortcut. And it ended up being a much more interesting road for a while. And I hate like those stupid little tiny rocks. Like when you get into a road that's not gravel, but they're like, the first part was easy.
The first shortcut, with that one, I'd do any day again. That was perfect.
Yeah, that was no problem.
Second one shortcut, that was the one that got us.
That was a little rough. I still liked it. It was still the most interesting part of the day to me. I get bored when we're on like just kind of, I like going over the passes and stuff. But when we get on those longer gravel stretches, I'm kind of like, okay, it's fine. Whatever.
I feel like the like green, like
That was
switchback
cool.
valley
cool
thing that we went through. I thought that was
pretty cool.
the coolest portion.
I loved going through that field though, with like, even though it was super rocky and slow, like there was all that, like, I didn't even know what it was, all that grass that had come up like in the rocks in that, that short,
about a foot tall or so.
Yeah, that was cool. And then that giant pit thing we went through, which was on the first half of it, of course. But,
I thought going through that taller grass, I was like, oh, finally it's going to be soft.
Well, I thought it was another dry lake bed from pretty far away.
Yeah,
I was
from
like,
far away. Yeah,
sweet. That's going to be nice. When
we're going to put some miles down.
Yeah. And I'm just watching Colin's truck just go like up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. And then I was like, he's not stopping. Oh no, that's grass. Okay, well, here we go.
Yeah.
It was a long day.
Yeah, it ended up being a pretty long day, which, I mean, we kind of had expected. We knew that was, I mean, it was
probably the most miles I think we've done on a day 2.
I don't know about that per se.
Might be the lowest average speed for a day 2.
Yeah, it might have been the lowest average speed other than that one section.
Well, that's why I felt like it.
Yeah.
But it was a long day, and I think in total, in total. So if you include crossing the Alvord and everything, I think that ended up being almost 200 miles.
Yeah.
Because it was 140, right around 140 from Fields to camp. So add in Alvord to Fields, probably another 20 or 30 on that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, we did almost 200 miles, and most of it, I mean, all except for the short little bit around Fields was was not paved.
Everything else was.
So,
and I would say over half of it was slow to track. The other half was, there was some fast that was really nice.
Well, the fast stuff was just fast.
Of course. Yeah.
We were moving like 70.
Yeah.
I was loving that.
Yeah. That was a good stretch.
That was really cool. I mean, that's something I'm like, oh my, going from an overloaded Xterra, which Xterras by themselves, sorry, Xterra owners, they are gutless pieces of shit. A Volkswagen Rabbit has more horsepower. And going from that to a V8 Sequoia with 260,000 miles, it probably has 80% of its like factory horsepower. Keeping up going 70 miles an hour was, oh man, game changer. This is awesome.
It does help.
Yeah.
Normally, like in years past, I've never felt like I couldn't keep up, but I always felt like I was just wringing it out, like that I was just getting the most out all the time.
Yeah.
And it's nice to just cruise and be like, all right.
Yeah.
The most blue smoke out.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh,
definitely had the most blue smoke.
Yeah.
I mean, 2-stroke.
Basically.
Practically a 2-stroke. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you lubricate the exhaust, it helps the flow.
That's right. Yeah. It goes faster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm doing, I shouldn't make this parallel because it's terrible, but I feel like with the engine swap and, knock on wood, lightly, resealing my front axle for the 6th time or whatever, I'm losing so much less petroleum out of my vehicle that it's so much better for the environment.
Yeah.
Even if the displacement is up a lot and it's a V8, I'm pretty
Climate change has been slowed exponentially.
I'm doing my part right now for sure.
He really is. He's trying his best.
Yeah.
Greta Thunberg is finally easing off of us.
Thank God.
Yeah.
It's carbon neutral.
Oh, man.
It's definitely
she's persistent.
Not, but it's carbon better than it was.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
That. And it's been around forever.
Put that on a shirt.
Yeah.
That's my thing, right? It's been around forever. It's already here. I'm not buying something new.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've all learned that the creation of a new vehicle is
It's not great.
the most detriment.
Yeah. Recycle.
Yeah.
Recycle your old shit.
Reuse, recycle.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the other one?
Reduce,
reuse, recycle. I should know this.
Yeah,
because Earth Day is my birthday.
Yeah.
And that is something that I have thought about always.
Also, I feel like that was really pounded into our heads.
Oh, yeah.
Our generation in general. Like
that is a 90s
really,
thing.
Yeah. That was really harped on for a long time in grade school.
Yep.
That and Dare.
Dare, yeah.
Dude. Now, who was a member of STARS?
No, what's
I
that?
don't know what that is. What was
Students today aren't ready for sex.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow. I hadn't even heard of that, so that tells you
Okay.
how far away I was.
I wasn't ready.
I wasn't.
I wasn't ready. I was told I wasn't ready.
It's okay. You blossomed later.
Yeah. Late bloomer for sure. Had to make up for it.
The only thing missing from Saturday was that everybody. So I don't know how I missed this in your original text, but there was the potential for hot springs on Saturday.
Yeah.
I didn't know about at all. So when I wasn't packing my own stuff because I was so busy working and Lauren was packing, she said, "Hey, did you bring swim stuff?" And I'm like, "No, it's going to be cold.
It's going to be cold. Why would I do that?
It's a dry lake bed."
There's not going to be any water in this lake bed.
And she said something innocently, without, I don't think that she thought that she was saying this, but she was like, "Well, if we were to go to hot springs or something." And I thought, oh, there was the year that we bailed out a few years ago and went to the hot springs. Sure. That makes sense to carry some sort of swim thing. So we put them in there. And then that Saturday morning, everybody's pumped because they're ready because we're going to the hot springs. And I'm like, when did this decision get made? But I'm in, right? I like hot springs. So I was like, okay, great, cool.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna put your swim stuff on yet? No, I don't think so. I think I'm gonna wait it out, which I'm glad I did because we spent so much time on the road that when we got there, we just drove right past. But that led us into the next day where we went back, and it was awesome.
Yeah, it was only 15 miles to go back, so 30 total because we'd have to backtrack again to get back out. Yeah. But Harper, my child that was with us, was fairly disappointed when she found out that we were rolling past the hot springs. Broke it to her, it was just we just got in late, and it was one of those things where it was we go to the hot springs and then get into camp in the dark.
Yeah.
And no one's eaten anything yet still and all of that. So it just, in my head, it was, let's just get to camp. And I had already made that decision. So where the guys on the quads came down the hill randomly.
Yep.
They were coming off of the road for that big butte that it's I think it's almost 8,000 feet or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
There's a big viewpoint up there that you can go up onto. And by that point, I had already said, I had looked at the time, knew how many more miles we still needed to do. And I was like, nope, we're not doing that either. Cause I think that's an 8 mile out and back. And the road is not even as good as any of the roads we were on. So I just knew it was going to be a huge time suck.
It was going to be the most fun, basically.
Probably.
All right,
yeah.
cool.
So we'll go back.
Okay, good.
But yeah, I had made that decision, and I really didn't say anything about any of it because I didn't want to bring it up for everybody. Yeah. I didn't want to go.
You don't want to bring it to the group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just, no, let's just, because I knew that everyone was going to be at their wits' end about it. So it's just just get into camp, call it good. And then it allowed us to the next day just be like, oh, well, we can do a slow morning and go up there and check it out. And
it was perfect.
Yeah. They worked out pretty good.
And honestly,
I just had a thought. If we did go up that hill and back, Mike wouldn't have made it to gas.
I might not have either.
Yeah, that's true.
I had less than a gallon.
Because Mike also bailed out before even going to the hot springs the next morning. He had already bailed out and he barely made it.
Yeah.
So
I can't believe that I can't believe that no one but Aaron brought gas. And Aaron used his gas on the playa.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm trying to save money at Fields. And I was like, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And then I started
really
thinking
smart.
about,
he should have done it after
no kidding.
Fields was the thing. But that would have he would have been a little bit set off better. But I mean, you guys all made it.
Yeah. It was fine. I thought about it. I was in the garage working on stuff and I was like, I should put that Rotopax under here. And then I thought, you know what? Colin, I already asked Colin. He said it was not a big deal. It wasn't a push on mileage. So
yeah.
If you had said it was a push, I would have been like, oh yeah, I got to bring it because you ran out last year. And it just happens. And so I was like, 5 gallons is nice.
I ran out last year. And part of that was not knowing that I could fit more fuel in it was clicking off so early,
Yep.
and I wasn't aware of how much I could actually get in there. So I was shorting myself
phantom
like
4
4
gallons.
gallons.
Yeah.
So that was why I ran out.
Yep.
Not that I was rallying it across the Alvord Lester or anything. No.
Oh no, of
Yeah,
course
no big
not.
It wasn't never.
Yeah.
No, didn't have anything
No,
to do with that.
very responsible.
All the mud we turned.
Mhm.
No, that too. God, that just
Anyway,
I mean,
we're talking about this.
wheels mud a lot.
Yeah, we don't need to remember mud.
Yeah, that was bad.
We had a lot of dust.
This was like the opposite. This
Yeah,
was,
which
yeah,
was
lots
great.
of dust.
We did find a little mud though.
Tiny bit.
Mhm.
Yeah, a tiny bit. And when we got back to town, I stopped by like a spray and wash car place because I had just enough mud. I was like, I just want to get rid of this right now.
They
Mhm.
all have signs that say no
I didn't
muddy
see a sign.
trucks. Yeah, I know. I can't
Actually-
read.
I feel bad about it because I don't like inconveniencing people that much. I do kind of feel bad.
Except for spray and wash.
Yeah, those people. No, there was a dump truck beside me.
Oh,
Stop
okay,
over. It
yeah.
was a dump truck because I'm like spraying my truck off, and I'm like, okay, this is fine.
Yeah, right.
This dude's
Why are you
bringing his
bugging me,
dump truck.
officer? Look at that asshole.
Yeah, that's like in pop for a 70 and a 55 when somebody's going 100.
Yeah.
I've seen cement mixers.
Yeah, like,
Rinsing
come on.
the drum out.
Oh man.
It's a hot wax.
So
Right. Spot free rinse.
it was the Sunday was nice and casual. We
Mhm.
went to the hot springs. It was good, and then we booked it home, and it was very tight on gas. That was
For some of you,
For
yeah.
some of us.
Mhm.
I mean, you guys were not. It wasn't nothing for you. You did take a decent amount of fuel, right? You had like a quarter tank left.
I had less than a quarter tank
Okay,
left,
so,
but
yeah.
but I wasn't
You
in
knew.
the same situation as you guys where
Yeah,
the
it's-
gas light was on before we were even in sight of.
Yeah,
Riley,
us
like-
V8 boys. Yeah, with
Yeah.
the the downside of having a V8 now, I'm sure the Xterra would have been awesome. Be like, I got a quarter tank left, you losers.
Yeah,
As I'm like 18 miles behind you because it's so fucking slow.
all I could think of was Colin can flat toe me. It's fine.
Yeah.
He's in front of me, just flat toe me. It'll be
Yeah, you
whatever.
know.
I was anxious about it for a while, and then when we stopped to air up, and I was like, all right, what's the actual mileage on the road? And you said 61 miles or whatever.
Yeah, it was 61, I think.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, gaslight isn't on yet. It's on under a quarter tank, but
Mhm.
gaslight isn't on. And I know I can probably get 50 miles
Yeah.
with my gaslight on. So that's whatever. There's 11 miles till the gaslight comes on, hopefully.
Little buffer.
And man, it was tight though. Like it was not. So I have an aftermarket fuel pump, and it's louder than stock already, and you can
Mhm.
hear it. But I've never run it that low. And when we pulled into the gas station, it was howling. Like I was like, "Uh-oh, this is not good." And it was fine. Didn't quite take a full tank of gas, but it was pretty close.
Yeah, you were close.
I thought for a second that it might not have enough fuel to start back up when I was in line, because I had to turn around to go to the other pump
For the premium pump.
for the premium
Mhm.
pump, which was a terrible idea. And why, in my infinite wisdom, I decided to fill up from dead empty on non-ethanol premium in Eastern Oregon.
Yeah.
It's because you
I'll
knew
be-
I was going to ask you how much you had because
I was thinking about that, and actually that was part of the thought, was like, oh well, I want to make sure to fill it up and not top it off, because I want to actually like figure out my mileage maybe
Mhm,
and compare to everybody else.
Compare
'cause
to
it's
everybody
fun.
else's
Like,
numbers.
yeah.
Yeah.
we do it all the time. And then
at
I
a
was like,
cost of
I'm gonna lose this game in
$150.
I'm gonna lose this game in two ways. I'm gonna have the worst mileage and the highest fuel cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, filling up at $100 a pop fucking sucks.
Trying to make it 150.
Yeah, I'm glad my
It sucks at 65 or it's 875.
Oh,
and stuff.
man.
It's like, oh, jeez.
I don't want to make it political, but in Joe Biden's America, Jesus. Come on, man.
I'm never gonna financially recover from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad. A lot of fuel. And I
A
still
lot
have a
of
lot of it. I haven't driven since the Alvord trip
Well,
until
yeah, that's-
tonight.
That's special fuel.
That's special fuel. I'm gonna make
you gotta
that last.
enjoy that. Yeah.
I'm gonna let it sit because it's non-ethanol. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
let it sit forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I think which I mean we'll see if any of our followers can comment in regards to this, but if anybody's ever been out to the Heart Mountain area, there's all those lakes down at the bottom of Heart Mountain, and we've gone through there. I think this was our third.
Yeah, maybe third or fourth.
Yeah, maybe fourth time that we've like gone through that area on this particular trip.
Usually all the same time of year.
And it's it's always been right around, within a week of this week that we went,
Earth Day.
Yeah, it's always that week, either the weekend prior or the weekend right after. And never have we ever gone through there and had every single one of those lakes completely empty.
Yeah,
that was the weirdest thing for me, was coming down the hill around the corner and there's just no water.
Yeah,
at all.
It was weird. Yeah, because there was so much water elsewhere, in the Alvord, in Burns, just outside of Burns.
You're telling me water migrates?
I didn't know that.
From Heart Mountain.
I thought we were in a completely different spot when we came around down that hill.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's totally unexpected to come around there, and because it's, like I said, if you've ever been there, you know that there's just like lake. There's just, they're all pepper potted all over the place in that area, and it's always had water in it. So it was just the weirdest thing to come around there and have them be totally dry.
Do you think, this is me just being stupid here, but do you think it's because there's a lot of snowpack still that's not melted off? Is that a thing?
It has been colder longer.
Yeah,
feels
I don't know, because I don't know what
diesel
fills those necessarily. I don't know, and it's interesting. Like if you look at it on a map, they refer to it as state holding, which I don't know what that means. All the lakes, they have like individual little names as well, but like the
Mugwump,
the area, the area in general is referred to as like a state holding. It said, which I don't know what that means for those lakes necessarily, but yeah,
you've got to know when to hold them.
This is true.
Know when to fold them.
Gotta know when to walk away.
Yeah.
If they had just folded.
Recently had folded. Maybe they hadn't walked away yet, but
yeah,
they're waiting to be flushed.
They're still. That's also a water joke.
For those that didn't catch on.
This has been Facts with Tyson.
Hey, thanks. I have some wonderful news to break to you guys after. Well, I think I told Steve already, but all my drone footage from the hot springs, thankfully, was corrupted. I don't know how it happened. So like I have all my drone footage from the rest of the trip, but for some reason, just the file from the hot springs is corrupted. So like totally kills my
elevation's too high.
Kills my freaking concept that I had in my head about how I was going to finish the video. Gonna have to.
We got to go back.
Gonna have to rethink that.
Yeah, let's just go reshoot it.
Just quick reshoot.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the cooking segment went off without.
Oh, jeez.
Any.
Yeah, that was. That one is gonna have zero issues at all. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a mess.
We need to talk to the 4-wheel drive 24/7 people and figure out how they shoot that.
Oh, I know how they shoot it. They just don't have problems when they're shooting it.
They've got to have some problem.
Well, I'm sure sometimes, but yeah, I'm sure they've built in so many contingencies now.
Different types of problems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Our cook wasn't too drunk, at least. It seems like that might be a problem they run into.
He didn't seem too drunk.
Yeah.
Good job, Steve.
Yeah, it's all appearances.
It's not that I wasn't drinking cocktails all night.
Yeah. Which you had made, which again, there's another piece of this weekend that was a new and welcomed change, was the adult Capri Suns that Steve brought for everybody. That was also a nice
fucking variety.
Oh yeah,
alone.
We weren't talking one flavor. We had what, 5? Was there 5? 5 flavors?
5.
Yeah, 5 different flavors to select.
It's crazy.
Yeah. That was good
Had a
stuff.
lot of liquor to get rid of.
Well, you picked the right group to get rid of it with.
Yeah.
So
Mission accomplished. So we'll take donations on restocking Steve's liquor cabinet so he can empty it again.
Yeah, just shoot me a message. I'll give you a Venmo to.
Yeah, secret rsvp@gmail.com.
Oh, we're not supposed to say that anymore.
Mike requested that we stop giving out his.
Why?
We're too popular now, apparently.
What?
It's gone too far.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I missed that because
don't worry, I'll leave
still
it in.
do it. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it in.
Yeah.
So
This was the
We're just gonna get
last time.
t-shirts
right.
made.
yeah,
Have
this
it
is
on
the
front.
last time until it happens again. But
man,
yeah.
he totally misjudged the power of the internet.
Mhm.
We're gonna get a banner
I would love that.
Yeah.
I know.
for the studio. It'll just get hung up in the back.
You know, we should
Actually, we're changing the name of the podcast.
Secret SVP. I think that's a good one. I was thinking we should make another email address that is just secretrsvp@gmail.com at campfire.com.
Just so we can keep using it.
Then we can just tell them, listen, we're not using it anymore.
Yeah.
It's a totally different email address.
Can you purchase an email address out from underneath someone?
There's got to be a way,
I'm
right?
sure there is. We get enough. We get enough follower
like buying
backing.
domains.
We should be able to just buy the email address off of him.
Now that's the Patreon that people are really asking for.
Yeah.
Let's buy that email address.
Buy the email
Yeah.
address.
Help us cockbag.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to hear what his breakover point is on like what is his price, because everybody's got a price.
Everybody's got a
Everyone's
price.
What
got a
is
price.
his price?
Well, the problem
for
is he's
that?
heard this, so now the price is going to be elevated just because of that.
Well, we need to make the
no.
offer prior to him
To
hearing
this
this.
release.
Yeah.
Yeah,
good call.
see,
Yeah.
so basically, we would have to get the word out.
I got
for
like
people to
$5
make
on
offers.
me.
I mean, I think we could pull together $100,
$20?
and I think that who is not going to sell their email address for $100? If somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, I'll take your Gmail address for $100," I'd be like, "It's already yours. Give it to
Sean, here we're gonna do this as a team. I'll hit him with 20.
me." Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then you hit him with
Upsell.
40,
Mhm.
and he has no choice.
What's he going to do? Take
Yeah.
$40?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, would you take 20 when you're offered 40?
No.
Of course not.
He's gonna
You'd
say,
be
"Make
an
it
idiot."
50, and I'm gonna be
Unless he's
okay,
a man
I
of his
was-
word, he needs to take the first offer
Which
because you
he
got there
is.
first.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I mean,
so
It's not listed for sale. Let's be clear.
It's not. That's true.
yeah. Dang. Well,
Yet. Let's convince him to sell it, and then we'll
So
come
yeah,
in.
convince him to list it for sale. Then
okay, so we got
But
to
that
get some
all
burner
needs to-
phones.
yeah,
We got to
all
get
needs
some
to
burner
happen
phones
before this releases, though.
so that
Okay.
you can tell him, hey man, I'll give you like $3.
Yeah.
And just beat
Start-
him down
start the
until it's like,
bidding war.
oh my god, it like
Well,
me
we can all
trying to get
flood
rid of that
Craigslist
Jetta
with comparables.
Mhm.
All right,
and I
we'll
just
all
gave
create
it
those.
to you
Yeah, because you didn't want to deal.
because I was so tired of dealing with people not buying a $500 car.
This is the best thing that's ever happened to me. I'm so sick of people offering me $250 for this that I'm willing to give it to you.
Yeah, that I just gave
Okay.
it to Sean, and then he sold it and gave me a longboard that he got in trade.
Yeah. I tried to give you money, and you said, "I'll take the longboard."
Yeah,
That's
I just
fine.
took the longboard. I still have it. It's a dope longboard.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, worth way more than a fucking shitty old Jetta.